All right, what's up, guys? This is another trade deadline video. We're going to go cover 10 different teams today. Might be a little light on some teams, but I'm going to start off with the Pirates. I had them as kind of a winner. I really liked the Luke Weaver deal. They gave up their 9th ranked prospect, who was a part of the Ke'Bryan Hayes deal. So they essentially turned Ke'Bryan Hayes into a year and a half of Luke Weaver, who was like the best reliever at the deadline. They got some other relievers. I think Lake Bakar, was another one. But yeah, they needed to go get bullpen help, and they got bullpen help. And that includes, I don't know how much the value is going to skew for Luke Weaver, because he's on a free agent contract, but it's a year and a half of a really good reliever. I think the Pirates really need to try to compete in the Paul Skeens window, and I like that they're buying and not selling. So, huge dub for the Pirates, in my opinion. Another team I had as a winner that bought was the Red Sox. I spoke about the Orioles last video, about how, I liked what they did in this deal, because they got a lot. And I'm not trying to backtrack, but I think the Red Sox, I like what they did a lot too. Is there going to be baseball in 2027? I think so. Maybe not a full season, but you get a year and a half of Adley Rutschman. He's hurt right now. He's been hurt a couple times, but when healthy, he's one of the better catchers, at least highest floor catchers, because how good he is defensively and how he's at least an average hitter, you would think, but there's a lot more in there. Could it be a big overpay? I think what I was really counting on, prospects, yeah, there's like 3 that are like in the top 100. That outfielder Azekar is in like the back end. I don't think Witherspoon is in the top 100, but Niansen, he's like a top 40 guys for a lot of outlets. But, you're projecting a lot. Iansen's already in Double-A in his first pro season. That's a big deal. But the more I see about him, and the more I think, from the outside looking in, 3 top 5 prospects and your starting catcher. I didn't know Narvaez was having that bad of a year. So that makes it a lot less, because I know he's a good defender, and he's not like more than maybe an average hitter, but he's hitting under 200 this year, so I didn't know he was that bad this year. But you go and address one of your biggest needs at catcher, and if one of those starting pitchers prospects turns into a reliever, I think that downgrades the value a lot, and maybe one of those guys never makes it. Who knows? Prospects, I used to be, the last couple years I've kind of, because prospects are exciting and it's the what if, but there's so many stories of highly touted prospect that doesn't end up making an impact at the major league level. So, but I like capitalizing. You get one of the a solid catcher who could be a lot better, and it's one of your biggest weaknesses on your team. And then you go get Eric Miller. I know you give up on Marcelo Meyer. He's been really bad and hurt, but he's still just 23 and has a lot of control. That could be a good deal for the Giants. But Eric Miller, I know his ERA is really good, but the walk rate scares me a lot. But he's another solid left-handed reliever with years of control. Maybe they can tap into him a little bit more. But you need another lefty besides Chapman. So I liked the Red Sox deadline. Another winner who I thought was they didn't make a huge splash, but they made some good moves, was the Guardians. They got Nathaniel Lowe from the Reds, which I thought was a sneaky, good pickup. It's a good bulk platoon bat, and Rhys Hoskins has been pretty bad. So you could, Manzardo's your everyday DH, and then Rhys Hoskins can short platoon. He might be a DFA candidate. He signed on a minor league contract, so it's not like you're paying any money or anything, a lot of money. They went and got a year and a half of Joe Adell. I thought he was expiring, But no, he's got another year of control. He's not having near the year that he was last year, but he automatically becomes the leader in home runs on the Guardians at 16. They really need power. They really needed a right-handed bat to hit lefties, and that's what Joe Adell does. They have a lot of left-hand hitting outfielders. He has like a 900 OPS against lefties. I think he really helps them down the stretch. And then they made a deal about a week ago for or maybe probably 2 weeks ago now, but for Patrick Bailey. Oh no, that was a while back. But the Patrick Bailey deal. But then they made another deal where they traded Naylor, and they got Craig Yoho. I liked him a lot. I've heard about him. A lot of really good changeup and had really like high strikeout rates in the minors, and has been solid in his young MLB career. But the Guardians, they do a great job of, tapping into more with relievers. I think he's going to fit right in with them. But then Foster Griffin, I thought was a really good pickup. I mean, Guardians have been really fortunate that they've only had 5 starters make starts. Their starting rotation hasn't got hurt at all, hasn't skipped one start, which I think, is awesome, but you can't really count on that with starting pitchers. Not that I want anyone to get hurt or anything, or I'm expecting it, but you probably turn that into a 6-man rotation, and then if somebody goes down, then you can, kick it back to 5, whatever. But Foster Griffin's been really good. I don't think I know they gave up one prospect that I had heard of, and that's like saying something because I'm not super tapped in, but to prospect lists all the time. But overall, I thought you addressed some needs. You added another bullpen guy. You added another starter. You added a first base, a left-handed bat. You added a right-handed bat. Thought it was a good deadline for the Guardians. Some sellers that I thought had a good deadline. The Blue Jays. They sold on Gausman. I talked about it in the Cubs. I didn't like the return as much in the Gausman deal, but you weren't going to compete this year, unfortunately, after making the World Series last year. You get a couple, warm bodies that maybe could turn into something. Who knows? The real deal was the Soriano deal. I thought was really good for them. You get more. You get like 3 more years of control. You do sell one of your higher ranked prospects, but I feel like he was, JoJo Parker had kind of passed him up, or at least made him, replaceable or whatever. But you get a starting pitcher with control. Maybe you can tap into more. You're counting on being better with your pitching development than the Angels, which is a pretty good bet. And then the Varsho deal I liked a lot too. I liked it for the Astros as well because, they really have struggled their offense, especially center field. It has been like 0 WAR. So it's been like a 70 WRC plus and like pretty good defense. And Varsho's not having a good year, but he has like a 90 WRC plus and he plays great defense in center field. So you get a pitcher with control. That's the thing with the Blue Jays. Like, yeah, they probably could have used a bat, but I feel like you can go out in free agency and try to go acquire a bat. Maybe hope that Santander will ever get healthy for you. That's it becoming a disaster contract. But hopefully he can get healthy next year and maybe make some use of the contract you gave him. But you needed some innings next year. Gausman he was going to be gone next year anyway. You sold on him. Scherzer is going to be gone next year. Shane Bieber is going to be gone next year. Like, you needed some guys to fill the rotation. And getting McCullers, he has had, he hasn't been great this year, but he had a great year, had an injury, but he still got like 3 more years of control. So at worst, he's going to be an innings eater for you, and you needed that. They also made a deal with the Rangers, getting Josh Smith. Maybe he can tap back in and be close to the all-star level that he was a couple years ago. But he's a utility guy. You can plug him in different spots. It's an okay deal. I think Adam Macko was, kind of just death for you. The next winner I have as a seller was the Giants. You turn a left-handed reliever who has a high walk rate. He does have years of control into a former top 10 prospect who has really struggled at the major league level, but he's still only 23, and Marcelo Meyer. So you're taking that high upside play. Maybe he's a bridge guy for you, but he's looking like once he gets healthy, he's going to play second base for you because you have big contracts on the left side of the infield and with Devers and Bryce Eldridge playing first. So you're kind of, second base is kind of the spot to go get. I don't know, though, because I totally forgot his name, but yeah, I totally forgot his name. The guy had a breakout year, but then he's going to miss the rest of the year. I don't know where he ends up playing. Maybe some corner outfield. Oh, that's going to bother me. I forgot his name. But I like that deal quite a bit. He sold Luis Arraez. I think his last name is Marquez, the pitcher you got back from the Phillies. A lot of guys I've heard, I hadn't heard of him, but he's kind of got a lot of healing this year to where he's performing pretty well at the lower levels, but he's not up to AA yet. But he's got a good changeup, throws a lot of strikes. You sell Ramos over to the Yankees. You get another starting pitching prospect in Lalane. I think that's a pretty good deal too. You trade Tyler Mahle. I think you sold all the right guys, and you probably were listening to deals for Logan Webb, and you were trying to, get off money in your bigger contracts, but you didn't do anything you didn't have to do, and you sold the right guys, and you got some interesting pieces back. I think it was a good deadline for the Giants. Marlins, I had them as a loser. They were a seller, and I didn't like, this is a weird thing, but if you're getting prospects back that I've never heard of, that are not even top 100 guys, I mean, yeah, they obviously, that's not everything, but I felt like you could have gotten better returns. And I've seen other people say that, the Liam Hicks deal seemed a little light. I don't know. I just don't. I understand, Augustine Ramirez came up immediately after him being traded, and he's going to take, probably a lot of the reps at DH. But, I mean, Joe Mack's your catcher for the future. You got a lot of corner outfield first base types, so I understand not wanting to clog the DH, but I felt like you could have, maybe they went over, they got 3 guys back in the Hicks deal, but I thought you could have gotten more, to be honest. I thought maybe not more players, but more of a headliner, and then, maybe they don't like doing that to where their entire trade package is in one player, but I for sure thought that Liam Hicks was going to net them a top 100 prospect. With the control that he has and how good he's been and the catcher market not really being there, I thought they were going to get a better deal. They sold some relievers. I thought someone was going to take a chance on Pete Fairbanks, but I didn't like the Marlins deadline. Of course, they didn't want to be sellers, but how bad they've been in July, they kind of had to, but I didn't like it. These next 4 teams, they're in my meh category, where they either bought or sold. Actually, they all bought, but I just didn't think they did enough, or they weren't clear with what they were doing. The Phillies, I like the Luis Arraez fit. I don't like switching everything around. I thought you should have probably maybe just I don't know with the position alignment. I like him hitting in the middle of your lineup. I don't like him hitting leadoff. But, you got Schwarber, Turner, Harper, and then Luis Arraez. I think you're going to have a lot of RBI chances for him. It lengthens the postseason lineup. I like the fit. He gave up a solid pitching prospect for him. pretty good deal, but I thought they could have went and acquired. I know their farm system isn't what it, isn't great, but I would have felt more comfortable. I don't know, maybe getting a Casey Mize or something, to where, are you counting on Aaron Nola in the playoffs? I know you probably just, Wheeler, Sanchez, Luzardo, and then maybe a bullpen game, and then kick it back to Wheeler. But I would have liked maybe another starter, because Nola and Painter haven't been it. I just didn't think they did enough. I know they got some right-handed hitting outfielders, which they needed, but I didn't like it enough. I thought they should have been a little bit more aggressive. I don't know. Next team is the Brewers. They got a good amount of pitching. They got Dustin May and Romero from my Cardinals. I like that return from my Cardinals. I already talked about that. Some guys that I don't think they were top 10 prospects in the Brewers system, which isn't saying a whole lot because their system's so good. But two interesting outfielders for a rental starter and a rental reliever. Those guys may never pan out, but thought that was a pretty good return. And, Dustin May is a back-end starter who could, I don't think he's making a playoff start for you. Romero's a leverage lefty, so that's a pretty good pickup. And then they got German Marquez from the Padres, or not from the Padres, the Rockies. Or was that Sensatella? Marquez is with the Rockies. Sensatella was still with the Rockies. He had been switched to a reliever. They picked him up. Where's the bat? Where's the bat, Brewers? Yelich has been not looking like himself even the last couple years. I just don't know where the bat is going to be for them. Thought you could have went out and acquired at least something that maybe you thought you could tap into. I don't know. I didn't like it as much. I like the arms that they got. I don't know. Where's the Skubal trade? I don't know. I thought they should have either gone all in on Skubal or at least done what they did with the pitchers that they got, and then, got a bat they could get. Like Joe Adell, they couldn't. I don't know. White Sox, it was pretty good. I like the Luis Castillo deal. Maybe they can tap into more and get him back to form. But at worst, he's a veteran innings eater. You needed that. You got a younger rotation. You get off Sir Anthony Dominguez money to kind of counter that. You add Joey Bart to your catching room. You add some relievers. I liked it. Braziban was one of the better relievers available. I like that deal. You add the Rockies, Brenton Doyle, just as, outfield depth. Maybe, he's a great defender. Maybe he can get the bat going a little bit. But I don't know. I wasn't, not that I wanted them to go all in for Skubal or anything, but it was just kind of an okay deadline. They bought a little bit to say, hey, we're proud, we're proud that we're leading the Central. We can't sell. But they didn't go all the way in or anything, which they shouldn't have leveraged their future because they're still, lined up with a good farm system. But just an okay deadline. Last team is the Diamondbacks. It's pretty simple. They made one move. It was with my Cardinals. I thought it was a pretty so-so. I like Nootbaar, but where they're at in the standings, I thought they should have either been more aggressive or sold. They were looking for first base, and they couldn't have got Nathaniel Lowe. They needed some pitching. They didn't make any pitching moves. This is the one that was just like unclear. Like the other three that I have in this category are like, okay, just okay deadlines, maybe do more. But this one, it was just like, you bought, but why did you not buy more? It was just kind of confusing. Nootbaar, you help out. They were really low on base percentage against righties. That's like Nootbaar's bread and butter. He's a very patient hitter, solid defender out there. You couldn't go get McCarthy back from the Rockies. I don't know. I thought they could have done more. Maybe go grab a first base bat, or grab some bullpen help. I know they got a lot of guys coming off the IL. Puck, Corbin Burns, and then what's their closer's name? He's coming off the IL too. So they got guys coming back, but I thought they should have done more if they were really trying to be in it. But that's all I got. Thanks, guys.